Argentina's troubled peso has plummeted to a historic low, surpassing the psychological barrier of 1,000 pesos per US dollar less than 2 weeks before a crucial presidential election.
아르헨티나의 불안한 페소화 가치가 심리적 저지선인 달러당 1,000페소를 돌파하면서 사상 최저치로 폭락했습니다. 이번 폭락 사태는 중요한 대선이 2주도 채 남지 않은 상황에서 벌어졌습니다. Oh dear. Tell us about this.
Right, it's just always problems with currency in Argentina, but the latest crisis is really because, and we talked about this in August, there was a primary in August, and this radical libertarian candidate, he is now the front runner. He got first place in the August primary. His name is Javier Milei. Since the primary vote, because usually whoever wins the primary is considered the most likely to become the next president.
Right.
And no one saw him. He sort of came out of the blue a little bit. Since the primary vote, the Argentine peso has plummeted 44%.
Oh.
So obviously that's not good. And some of the reasons for that, the main reason is that Milei wants to replace the peso with the dollar, dollarize the Argentinian economy, and he also wants Argentina's central bank to be abolished. The peso had been going down for months since this, but it took a really sharp downturn on Monday because he did a radio interview and he said, "Oh, the peso is only issued by Argentine politicians, so it's not worth anything." I think he compared it to dong, to poo.
Wow, to excrement.
Excrement, yes.
Oh,
He said it's not worth crap.
So the end goal for Milei would be to get rid of
the peso, yep, and then use
Oh.
the US dollar and get rid of the Argentinian central bank.
That really is quite radical.
Yeah, it is. Right. So they're saying here now the depreciation of the peso is going to accelerate insane inflation even more. So in August, Argentina's inflation rate was at 124%.
자, 그러니까 지금 무슨 얘기냐면은요. 대선이 얼마 남지 않았는데 그 예비 선거에서 프라이머리에서 지금 하비에 밀레이라고 하는 후보가 1위를 했습니다. 그러니까 지금 그대로라면은 이제 대선에서도 승리할 가능성이 매우 매우 높아요. 그런데 이 하비에 밀레이 후보는 페소화 없애고 그냥 달러화 쓰자 이런 그 공약을 내세우고 있기 때문에 여러 가지 방침들을 또 얘기를 하고 있고 그래서 그런지 진짜 페소화의 가치가 뚝뚝뚝 떨어지고 있고 심지어는 좀 전에 선생님이 아까 그 똥이라고 말씀을 하셔서 저 깜짝 놀랐는데
There's no other way to put it. That is what it said in several articles.
뭐라 그랬냐면 실제로 지금 페소화의 가치는 excrement랑 비슷하다. 그래서 이게 이제 공식 표현으로 변을 영어로는 excrement라고 합니다. 그 단어가 여러 가지 있잖아요. 그 정도로 이제 비유를 하고 있네요. 와우. 좀 더 봐야 되겠습니다. 2주 후에 진짜 이제 대선 결과가 어떻게 될지 또 페소화는 어떻게 될지 봐야겠네요. Right now, the value of the peso is at an historic low.
The lowest point ever. If you see a historic low, it's at its lowest point in history. It's never been that low before.
그렇군요. Historic low라는 건 사상 최저치가 되겠고요. Some people say a historic low. I say unhistoric
Yeah,
low.
me too.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
And they're both correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just one of
okay.
those. Just one of those.
맞아요.
Yeah, one of those strange things.
It is a very strange word.
You might also see all-time low.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that an all-time low or an all-time high? It's the same meaning.
Yeah.
A historic low, and historic high.
네, 사상 최저치. 자, 그리고 it's even surpassed the psychological barrier of 1,000 pesos per US dollar.
Right. So this 1,000 pesos per US dollar doesn't really mean anything, right? Like that in and of itself doesn't really mean anything.
Right.
We talk about psychological barriers. These are just something that that affects the way people think
Right.
or act or perform, and it can cause people to panic.
Yep.
It can cause anxiety. Like a barrier is some obstacle. So it's something in your brain that a lot of times we use it like, again, I'm going to use another sports reference. It happens a lot in sports where an athlete or a team has a psychological barrier when they play against another team.
Okay.
So years and years ago, there was this amazing pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, Pedro Martinez. He was like the best pitcher in baseball. But when it came to the postseason, he could never beat the Yankees. And you could just see it. Like he would be amazing all year, and then in the biggest game, in the biggest moments, he would crumble. And I've seen like so many athletes will have this problem.
So that was their psychological
It
barrier.
was a psychological barrier. Just there was something in their brain that just caused. Maybe they had anxiety. Oh my God, we're getting down to this. We might win. Like my favorite hockey team, they have a psychological barrier against the team from Boston. They just cannot beat them
Right.
when it comes to the most important games.
스포츠에서도 쓰기도 하고 또 경제학에서도 쓸 수도 있는 표현 바로 이 심리적인 장벽이라고 볼 수 있겠죠. 심리적인 저지선, psychological barrier가 되겠습니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Argentina's troubled peso has plummeted to a historic low, surpassing the psychological barrier of 1,000 pesos per US dollar less than 2 weeks before a crucial presidential election.